Welcome, and take a deep breath. Lose yourself in the silence. In the course of the next video, we will leave the noise of today behind and drift back, far back, into the slow pulse of another world. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of the Roman Empire, in a city where marble temples catch the first light of morning, where voices carry softly through narrow streets, and where time moves in a rhythm very different from your own. This is not the Rome of grand battles or roaring arenas. This is the Rome of everyday life, of worn sandals shuffling along cobblestones, of steam rising from bread ovens before the sun has fully risen, of conversations murmured over the splash of a public fountain. Tonight, you will not race through history. You will walk through it slowly, step by step, as though you are there, moving through its streets, breathing in its air, and you will see why lasting even a single day here would be more challenging than you might expect. The day in ancient Rome begins before the light. In a cramped upper floor of an insula, you wake to the soft, uneven sound of footsteps on the stairs. The air is cool, touched with the faint smell of smoke from the hearth below. Outside your narrow window, the street is still shadowed, but somewhere nearby, a door creaks open. Your bed is little more than a straw-stuffed mattress, the fabric rough against your skin. You stretch, slowly, hearing the soft rattle of clay cups in the apartment next to yours. A woman's voice hums a tune, perhaps to a restless child, while a cartwheel clatters over loose stones in the street below. You rise, pulling on a tunic that feels slightly damp from the cool air of the night. The walls of your room are bare stone, slightly rough to the touch. There is no glass in the window, only a wooden shutter you push open to let in the faint gray light. Down in the street, a baker has already begun his work. You catch the smell, warm, earthy, the scent of fresh dough baking in a clay oven. It mingles with the sharper scent of olive oil and the faint sourness of wine left in open jars from the night before. The street is narrow, its stones uneven and still slick from the night's dew. You walk slowly, passing other early risers. A man carrying a basket of figs, a boy driving a pair of donkeys, and an old woman with a clay jug balanced easily on her hip. At the corner, you hear the gentle splash of water. A fountain, fed by one of the great aqueducts, flows continuously, its clear surface rippling as someone fills a jar. The sound is steady, calming, a constant presence in a city that is otherwise always shifting. Shops begin to open, wooden shutters lifting to reveal shelves of pottery, bolts of wool, and small bronze lamps. The owners sweep their thresholds with slow, practiced motions, dust rising in the cool air and catching the first rays of morning sunlight. In the forum, merchants arrange their goods with quiet efficiency. The marble columns cast long shadows across the paving stones. Somewhere, a caged bird sings, its notes light and scattered against the low murmur of voices. You pause at the steps of the basilica, watching as the city wakes in layers, from the quiet hum of side streets to the fuller, deeper tones of the main square. This is the rhythm of their days. It begins not with rush or urgency, but with the slow weaving together of countless small tasks. And yet, as you stand there, breathing the air of ancient Rome, you begin to feel how different this world is. There is no hot water in the morning, no light switch to banish the dimness. Every comfort must be earned through effort, through routine, through the small rituals that shape their lives. And so, you begin your walk deeper into the heart of the city, following the same steps countless feet have taken before you. As the sun slowly lifts above the rooftops, spilling gold across the stones, imagine yourself standing outside a small bakery tucked into a quiet side street of Rome. The air is dense with the warm, comforting scent of bread baking in a clay oven. You hear the soft thump of flour bags being moved and the muted scrape of a wooden paddle sliding under loaves. This bakery belongs to Gaius. He is an ordinary man, not rich, not powerful, but he holds a small, vital place in the rhythm of Roman life. His hands are calloused from kneading dough, yet gentle when shaping delicate rolls. Imagine him standing by the oven, turning the loaves slowly, listening to the faint crackle as the crusts form. Gaius wakes before dawn, always. He rises from a narrow bed in a modest room above the shop. The floor is cold, worn smooth by years of walking. He wraps himself in a simple tunic, the fabric slightly stiff from washing, and steps lightly down the stairs. He pauses to listen to the quiet city, a moment of calm before the activity begins. As the first light spills across the rooftops, he begins his work. He measures the flour with practiced hands, the grains slipping quietly through his fingers. He mixes it with water drawn from the fountain nearby, adding yeast and salt. Each gesture is deliberate, almost meditative. The dough takes shape slowly under his touch, soft and pliable, yet with a gentle resistance. Outside, the city begins to stir. Children shuffle barefoot across the uneven cobblestones, their laughter distant but soft. You can hear the low murmur of early morning conversations, the creak of carts, and the occasional bray of a donkey. Gaius pauses to listen, savoring these subtle notes. They are part of the day's rhythm, part of the life he has known for decades. By mid-morning, the loaves are ready. He slides them carefully into the oven, feeling the heat radiate back onto his arms. The smell of baking bread fills the small room above the shop, curling into the stairwell and drifting out into the street. The aroma is comforting, grounding, a gentle promise of nourishment. People begin to arrive. Some are laborers, arriving with dusty hands and tired eyes. Others are merchants from nearby stalls, pausing to exchange greetings and coins for warm bread. Gaius greets each one quietly, his voice soft but steady. There is no hurry here, no dramatic urgency, only the slow, predictable rhythm of daily life. In the small moments between kneading and baking, Gaius reflects on the city itself. He watches the sun climb higher, glinting off the marble of distant temples. He notices the shimmer of water in the fountains, the flutter of birds over the rooftops, the subtle changes in the sky as clouds drift lazily by. These observations are small, almost invisible to others, but they shape his days. Occasionally, someone will speak of events beyond the bakery, the arrival of an official from the Senate, or news of grain shipments from distant provinces. Gaius listens politely, absorbing the information like a gentle background hum. It does not alter the rhythm of his work, but it reminds him of the vast city in which his small shop exists. As afternoon approaches, the bakery grows quieter. The midday sun casts soft shadows across the stone streets. Gaius wipes his hands, smooths the flour from his tunic, and steps outside for a brief breath. He listens to the distant laughter of children playing, the gentle clatter of carts, the slow, lazy calls of vendors packing up for a short break. He pauses at the fountain, cupping cool water in his hands, letting the gentle splash refresh him. He thinks about the simplicity of these moments, how they anchor him, keep him present in the flow of the city's life. And in these pauses, you can imagine yourself standing with him, feeling the sun warm your shoulders, hearing the subtle music of the streets. Evening arrives gradually. The sun sinks behind the buildings, casting long shadows across the paving stones. Gaius finishes the last loaves of the day, carefully arranging them on shelves for those who may come late. He sweeps the floor, gathering stray flour, listening to the soft scrape of broom against stone. The smell of bread lingers, mingling with the fading heat of the oven and the cool evening air drifting in through the open doorway. As night settles over Rome, Gaius extinguishes the fire in the oven, its soft glow fading into darkness. He locks the doors of the bakery, ascends the stairs to his modest room, and lies on his bed, listening to the distant city, the soft footsteps on the streets below, the faint ripple of the aqueducts, the occasional shout from a night watchman, all part of the continuous rhythm of life. You realize, as you stand with him in these quiet moments, how much effort sustains even the simplest comforts in Rome. Each loaf, each measurement, each pause contributes to the slow, enduring pattern of life. It is a life of work, yes, but also of quiet observation, gentle repetition, and subtle connection. And so, as you drift alongside Gaius through the slow arc of a single day, you begin to understand why, even in a city so full of activity, patience and attentiveness are the truest tools of survival. Even more than strength or cunning, it is the ability to notice the small things, the smell of baking bread, the feel of stone beneath your feet, the whisper of water in a fountain, that allows one to endure the vastness of ancient Rome day after day. Imagine yourself stepping back into Gaius' bakery once more. The morning sun is soft and low, casting a golden hue across the uneven stones outside. You feel the coolness of the early air, scented faintly with smoke from distant hearths. A thin breeze brushes through the narrow street, carrying with it a mixture of scents: fresh bread, olive oil, herbs drying in the sun, and a hint of damp stone from the night's dew. Gaius moves slowly, deliberately, enjoying the calm before the city fully awakens. He smooths the flour from his hands and listens to the quiet symphony around him, the distant bray of a donkey, the creaking of carts, the soft hum of women talking in upper-floor rooms. Each sound is a note in the city's gentle morning melody. He measures his flour carefully, fingers tracing the soft grains as they fall into a large wooden bowl. The flour is fine, almost silky between your fingertips. He adds water in small amounts, watching the mixture thicken slowly. The dough is cold at first, but as he kneads it, it warms under his touch. The motions are repetitive, comforting. Press, fold, turn, repeat. You can imagine yourself mirroring the movements, the rhythm settling into a slow, meditative pace. Sometimes, a little flour drifts into the air, catching the morning light like tiny golden motes. It settles softly on his tunic and hair. The scent of yeast rises slowly, subtle and soothing, promising nourishment. The dough stretches and resists gently, a living substance, responding to careful, patient hands. Outside, life hums quietly. A boy drives a small donkey, pulling a crate of figs toward the forum. An old woman balances a clay jug on her hip, her movements graceful despite age. A man sweeps his threshold, dust rising in soft clouds. The sounds are familiar to Gaius, comforting in their predictability. You might pause to notice the uneven rhythm of these footsteps, the way the city moves without urgency, flowing like water over stone. A nearby fountain splashes gently, water spilling into a shallow basin. The sound is steady, almost hypnotic. You might imagine dipping your hand into it, feeling the coolness ripple over your fingers, the freshness awakening a gentle sense of calm. As the morning deepens, Gaius turns his attention to the variety of breads he prepares. Some loaves are simple and dense, meant for laborers with heavy, tiring days. Others are lighter, enriched with olive oil or honey, intended for wealthier clients. He shapes each loaf with care, feeling the subtle differences in texture. You can imagine him brushing his hands against the smooth, oiled wooden surfaces of his workbench, the soft scrape of dough against it, the faint warmth radiating from the oven as it slowly reaches the perfect baking temperature. The smell of the baking bread grows richer, blending with the aromas of nearby shops, dried figs, fresh cheese, and a faint hint of incense from a small household altar. Gaius notices the changing seasons in subtle ways. In the heat of summer, the oven radiates even more warmth, and the air outside shimmers slightly above the stones. He wipes sweat from his brow, pauses to drink cool water from the fountain, and listens to children playing in the streets, their laughter soft and distant. In winter, the dough is colder and firmer, the mornings chillier, and a thin mist sometimes clings to the streets. He layers his tunic more carefully, listening to the quiet crackle of wood fires in nearby homes. These small seasonal details affect the rhythm of his day, shaping the pace at which he works. The amount of water he adds to the dough, the timing of when the loaves go into the oven, and you, standing beside him in imagination, begin to feel these subtle shifts too, the gentle ebb and flow of a life attuned to nature and the city. Throughout the day, people stop at the bakery. A laborer arrives, with dust still clinging to his sandals. He nods silently to Gaius, takes a loaf, and moves along. A mother purchases small rolls for her children, speaking in quiet, measured tones. A merchant from a nearby stall exchanges a few coins and chats softly about the heat of the sun or the scarcity of grain. Each interaction is gentle, brief, and rhythmic, part of the daily pattern of human presence in the city. Notice the small details, the way a coin feels in your hand, the rough texture of a loaf's crust, the soft rustle of cloth as someone adjusts their tunic. These are the small, grounding moments that define the day. Gaius pauses in the afternoon to watch the city from the doorway. Shadows lengthen, stretching lazily across the paving stones. The sunlight glints off distant marble, creating a soft shimmer. Birds flutter overhead, occasionally landing on the edges of rooftops. You can imagine inhaling deeply, tasting the warm, faintly yeasty air, feeling the weight of the day settling softly into your body. He reflects quietly on the city and his place within it. Each loaf he bakes feeds more than hunger. It feeds rhythm, stability, the steady hum of urban life. Every small gesture contributes to a sense of continuity, an invisible thread connecting hundreds of lives. As evening falls, Gaius tends to the last loaves, the oven now gentle and cooling. The streets are quieter. Lamps begin to glow faintly along the main roads. The smell of bread mingles with the cool evening air, earthy and comforting. He sweeps the floor, listens to the distant sound of water trickling from fountains, and notes the soft, irregular footsteps of people returning home. Before he retires, he pauses one last time at the fountain, letting the water run over his hands. The coolness spreads slowly, a soft counterpoint to the warmth lingering from the day's work. You, too, feel the gentle weight of the city's evening, the soft embrace of a day ending as quietly as it began. Gaius climbs the stairs to his modest room above the bakery. He lies on his straw mattress, feeling the subtle shift of air as night deepens. The faint sounds of the city continue below. The whisper of water, the distant shuffle of feet, the occasional murmur of conversation. He breathes deeply, letting the day's work settle into calmness. And you, standing beside him in imagination, let yourself settle too, into the quiet, rhythmic heartbeat of ancient Rome. The warmth, the scents, the sounds, the steady passage of time, all working together to lull the mind and body toward gentle rest. Imagine yourself standing on a gentle rise outside the city. The morning light spills softly across the hills, and in the distance you notice long, graceful lines of stone stretching across the landscape. These are the aqueducts, silent, enduring, carrying water from distant springs into the heart of Rome. Their arches rise and fall like a quiet melody, steady and unhurried. You follow one of the stone channels slowly, your footsteps muted against the grass and soft earth. The air smells faintly of damp stone, moss, and the wildflowers that cling to the embankments. Somewhere, a bird calls, its song carried softly over the gentle breeze. Imagine leaning down and feeling the cold, smooth surface of the stone beneath your fingers. These aqueducts are ancient, built with careful hands, their surfaces worn by centuries of wind, rain, and sun. Water moves through them slowly, quietly, a lifeline for the city below. You can almost hear the soft trickle as it flows toward Rome, invisible but constant. This water sustains life, the baths, the fountains, the gardens, and the streets themselves. It flows for Gaius, for his neighbors, for countless others who touch the city each day, often without noticing the source of this gentle gift. Imagine walking along the channel, tracing the path of a single drop. From a spring high in the hills, it travels through stone tunnels, over arches, and finally into Rome itself. It passes slowly, like a patient traveler, stopping briefly in small reservoirs where it rests and cools. Along the way, you notice the textures of the stone, carved and smoothed by the hands of Roman engineers, careful and meticulous. Each arch, each joint, each slight curve is deliberate, a testament to thoughtfulness and patience. As you walk, imagine the sound, a soft murmur of water through channels, occasionally breaking into a quiet splash where it passes a sluice gate. It is gentle and constant, a rhythm to which the city's life is quietly attuned. You begin to feel the calm that this water brings, a subtle, enduring presence that touches every part of daily life. Finally, you reach one of the city's fountains, a small square tucked between two narrow streets. Water spills from sculpted stone lions, or perhaps from simple clay spouts, into a shallow basin. The sun glints on the surface, creating tiny ripples of light that dance slowly across the paving stones. You dip your fingers into the cool water, feeling it slip over your skin, smooth and refreshing. The scent is faintly mineral, mingled with the aroma of herbs that grow nearby. Around the fountain, the city moves quietly. Children fill small cups or jars, laughing softly. An old woman washes a cloth with deliberate motions, the fabric ringing gently in her hands. Merchants pause to fill jugs, and men returning from errands take a brief drink before continuing. Each action is measured, gentle, part of the slow rhythm of life that the water enables. You might notice the soft sounds of the day, the gentle plop of water into the basin, the scraping of sandals against stone, the distant bray of a donkey, the quiet murmur of conversation. All these sounds are held together by the constant flow of the water, invisible yet sustaining. Now imagine stepping into a bathhouse, warmed by the gentle steam rising from heated pools. The water here is calm, almost mirror-like, reflecting the columns and arches of the building. You hear the faint drip of water from the ceilings, the soft shuffle of feet on stone floors. People move slowly, washing, talking quietly, or simply standing and letting the water support them. These baths are more than hygiene. They are places to pause, to rest, to witness the slow passage of time. You can imagine the sound of water in small channels, flowing from room to room, its movement constant but never hurried. The gentle warmth wraps around you, as comforting as a soft blanket, and the faint scent of oils and herbs mingles with the mineral-rich water. Everywhere you turn, water quietly shapes life in Rome. Imagine yourself walking past a series of small fountains in narrow alleys, each with its own soft sound and slightly different scent. Perhaps someone is washing a clay pot, the soapsuds curling gently into the basin. Perhaps a child is filling a jar to take home, careful not to spill a single drop. Notice the tactile details, the smooth surface of the basin, the coolness of the water slipping over your palms, the slight roughness of stone edges warmed by the sun. The city's life is threaded with this gentle resource, and through it you feel the invisible heartbeat of Rome. Consider, too, the quiet wonder of the engineering. How did people so long ago shape stones into perfect arches, plan channels over miles of land, and create reservoirs to hold the city's water? You don't need to know the technical details. Simply imagine the patience, the meticulous observation, the long hours of careful measurement. Each stone is aligned so precisely that water flows without interruption over gentle slopes, bending around hills and valleys. As you imagine this, feel the calm of time stretching. Centuries pass quietly in these stones, centuries of water flowing without pause, quietly supporting countless lives. You may picture the subtle shadows shifting across the aqueducts as the sun travels, the soft lichen growing in hidden crevices, the occasional bird nesting in the arches. Life continues, slow and deliberate, carried gently by the water itself. As evening falls, you return to a fountain in the city. The sunlight softens into a warm glow, shadows stretching across paving stones. The water's surface reflects the colors of the fading sky, soft oranges, muted purples, gentle blues. The air smells faintly of herbs, stone, and the lingering warmth of the day. Children are fewer now. Adults pause briefly, filling their jars or washing a cloth with slow, deliberate care. Somewhere nearby, a dog curls up on a stone ledge, ears twitching occasionally. The fountain flows steadily, its rhythm constant and comforting. You can pause here, take a gentle breath, and imagine yourself leaning over the basin. The water flows endlessly, connecting hills to city, spring to fountain, past to present. It is a quiet, soothing presence, a reminder of the slow, patient work that sustains life. And as night deepens, the water continues to ripple softly, a lullaby for the city, for Gaius, and for anyone who pauses to notice. Imagine yourself walking along a shaded gravel path, leading away from the narrow streets of the city. The sounds of merchants and carts fade into a soft hum in the distance. Ahead, you see a villa, a large house belonging to a wealthy Roman senator. Its walls are tall, smooth, and pale, catching the light in subtle glimmers. The air here smells faintly of herbs, baked bread, and the gentle aroma of incense drifting from a small household shrine. You step through a carved wooden door into a courtyard. The space is cool, with marble underfoot and carefully tended gardens. Fountains bubble gently, water spilling from sculpted stone figures into shallow basins. The sound is constant, soothing, like a heartbeat, steady and unhurried. Imagine running your fingers along the smooth stone edge of a basin, feeling its coolness under the warm sunlight. The day begins quietly here as well, though with different routines. Slaves move silently, their steps soft on marble floors. They open shutters to let in light, arrange cushions, and sweep dust from mosaicked corridors. You can hear the faint scrape of brooms, the soft clink of bronze vessels, the gentle murmur of water in hidden channels beneath the floor. The senator himself rises, his movements measured. He dons a finely woven tunic, the fabric soft and cool against his skin. Perhaps he pauses before a small mirror, adjusting a fold of cloth, noticing the play of light on the polished walls. You, standing beside him in imagination, notice the contrast. Here, every small comfort is crafted, deliberate, and preserved. The rhythm of the day is slow, thoughtful, and deliberate. In the dining area, a light breakfast awaits. Fresh bread, still warm, is laid alongside bowls of figs, olives, and cheese. Honey glimmers faintly in a small ceramic dish. You notice the textures and colors, the soft golden brown of the bread, the deep purple of the figs, the pale cream of cheese. Each item is placed with care, the arrangement itself a subtle expression of taste and calm. The senator eats slowly, savoring each bite. The flavors are gentle and simple, yet rich with quality. He drinks water from a bronze cup, smooth and cool. Outside the windows, the garden stretches quietly, flowers nodding in the soft breeze, leaves rustling gently. Perhaps you hear the faint song of birds punctuating the stillness. As the morning continues, the senator attends 2 small tasks. He reads letters penned by friends or distant associates, the parchment soft beneath his fingertips. He may practice writing or sketching faint designs on wax tablets, moving the stylus slowly and deliberately. Each gesture is unhurried, meditative, filled with the calm awareness of his environment. You notice the servants moving efficiently but quietly around him, polishing vessels, tending the gardens, drawing water from a fountain. Their steps are soft, almost inaudible on marble floors. There is no clamor, no rush, only a gentle, continuous motion that maintains the order of the household. Perhaps he walks through the villa's shaded corridors, pausing to admire mosaic floors depicting subtle scenes of animals, gardens, or mythic figures. The tiles are smooth underfoot, the colors muted but carefully chosen. You might imagine tracing the designs with your eyes, noticing the tiny details, the curve of a bird's wing, the gentle shimmer of a leaf. Each small element contributes to a slow, thoughtful beauty. As the sun moves across the sky, the light changes. Soft shadows stretch across courtyards and corridors. The senator might retreat to a small study or garden pavilion, letting his gaze rest on fountains or carefully trimmed hedges. The water continues its quiet murmur, a constant companion. He pauses in thought, perhaps reflecting on the events of the city below. The the laborers walking home from the forum, the merchants closing their stalls, the faint echoes of children's play fading into evening. You, standing in this imagined scene, notice the contrast. The villa is serene, insulated, yet quietly connected to the broader rhythms of Roman life. As evening deepens, lamps are lit, casting soft, flickering light across walls and columns. Shadows dance gently over mosaics and carved surfaces. The fountains continue to ripple, and the gentle scent of evening flowers drifts through open windows. Dinner is a quiet affair. Food is prepared with care. Roasted vegetables, small fish, olives, bread. Each bite is savored, accompanied by muted conversation or silent reflection. Perhaps music plays softly, the gentle strum of a lyre, a flute, or a small wind instrument. Its notes float calmly through the villa, blending with the murmur of fountains and the rustle of leaves. As night falls, the senator retires to his bedchamber. The sheets are soft, the pillows supportive, the room warmed slightly by the day's sun. Outside, the fountains continue their quiet rhythm. The water glimmers in the lamplight, and somewhere in the garden, a small animal stirs. You can pause here, breathe deeply, and feel the slow, deliberate life of this household. The city sleeps beyond these walls, but within the gentle order. The soft water, the muted sounds, and the careful placement of beauty continue. A lullaby in stone, marble, and soft air. And now, as you drift with the city of Rome, from Gaius bakery to fountains and aqueducts, to this serene villa, notice the contrasts and continuities, the effort and simplicity of ordinary life, the careful luxury of the elite, and the quiet threads, like water and stone, that connect all these moments. The rhythm of Rome is enduring, patient, and gentle. Let it guide you toward rest, toward sleep. Now, imagine yourself standing quietly in the fading light of the city. You have walked its streets with Gaius, inhaled the scent of fresh bread, and felt the texture of worn stones beneath your feet. You have followed water flowing from distant hills through aqueducts, pausing at fountains that ripple endlessly, calming both city and soul. You have wandered through the serene corridors of a senator's villa, feeling the soft marble under your fingertips, listening to the gentle murmur of servants and water alike. Each moment you have imagined is connected, the labor, the observation, the quiet rhythms of life, threading together the world of ancient Rome. Notice the contrasts, the simplicity of daily routines, the meditative work of a baker, the patient engineering of aqueducts, and the careful luxury of the elite. Yet all of these lives share a subtle harmony, a continuous pulse that moves softly, endlessly through time. As you breathe in, feel the calm of centuries settling around you. As you breathe out, let go of the noise of your own day, letting the gentle hum of the past carry you. Picture the sun setting over the city, its warm light fading into quiet shadows. The fountains still ripple, the bread is still cooling, the marble floors are still smooth beneath careful feet. Life moves gently, slowly, and patiently. You do not need to rush. You do not need to witness more than this. Let the quiet of the city, the flow of water, and the rhythm of daily life linger softly in your mind. Feel your body sinking comfortably, your eyelids growing heavier, your breathing slow and steady. The city rests. You rest. And now let the soft pulse of ancient Rome guide you into sleep, carrying you gently through the night and into dreams that drift as calmly as water over stone as softly as footsteps on warm marble, as peacefully as the fading light over a quiet city that has existed for millennia. Sleep well.